From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for November 2019. Lots of stuff going on in November, as there is every year. Winter is here. The cold has definitely arrived. So it's a great time to hunker down. You need stuff to read. You don't want to go outside, sitting on the sofa, under the blanket. That's my favorite time of year. I'm not a big outdoorsy guy. I'm a sitting inside reading guy. So lots of stuff coming. Lots of great stuff already out. So we're going to go over all the neat stuff going on. Friday, December 22nd, we're doing book club. And for this month, we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Change is Constant. This is the first volume of the IDW series. They're about to hit issue 100. They were supposed to hit it in November, but sadly it got delayed, so it's coming in December. But we still wanted to shed a little spotlight on something that's actually hitting 100 issues, which is great. This is the IDW series, not the original Turtles that started back in the 80s. So this is all stuff that's probably fresh, even if you're a Turtles fan. If you haven't been reading this, it might be an interesting thing to come check out. So I have them in stock. It's going to be on Friday, November 22nd, 7 o'clock. We always have a real good time. My monthly special this month, I decided to change it up a little bit. I always tend to do either a publisher or characters, things like that. Well, I decided to go with a writer this time. And I was trying to figure out who would be a good writer to do, somebody who has kind of a vast selection, a vast array of productions, things that they've done. And I decided to go with Gail Simone. She's worked for just about every major publisher out there. She's doing lots of neat stuff. And she's also a really great person. I was lucky enough when I was out in Vegas to have breakfast with her and a bunch of other people. It was like 10 or 12 of us at the table, but she was just a delight to talk to. So I'm picking Gail Simone. She's done from Deadpool, Birds of Prey, all sorts of stuff. Right now she's in charge of Lion Forge's Catalyst Prime universe. That's just started, but we'll have a big selection of all of her work, and you can come see what she's done and see if anything looks good to you. So that's going to be all month long. Now, November is also the beginning of shopping season. Holidays are right around the corner. It always hits me. It's like as soon as we get, you gear up for Halloween, and all of a sudden Halloween's over, and it's like, we only have a few weeks until Thanksgiving and everything. So on Saturday, November 23rd, is Local Comic Shop Day. Now, this was created because Black Friday is so much about the online shopping and going to the malls and the big box stores and things. We were trying to figure out a way to get people to come into the comic shops to buy things. And so we decided to start Local Comic Shop Day, doing it the week before Black Friday. And what it is it's not big things. It's lots of neat little kind of niche gift type items. What you're getting is special hardcovers, variant cover comics, some toys that are unique. So I will be posting online what all these are and what's all available, but it's lots of neat stuff. And again, neat gift ideas that people won't be able to find online or anywhere else. They're only available in participating stores. So that's Saturday, November 23rd. And then, of course, Friday, November 29th is Black Friday, which is the big shopping day. And we'll be doing a big thing that whole weekend. So keep an eye out for what kind of sales and promotions I'm going to be doing. Trying a couple different things this year, so that's going to be fun. Now I have the panic of getting ready for it. So those are the big things going on at the store this year. So DC Comics November is going to be really neat because they're doing something cool. They're doing acetate covers, which basically is a clear plastic overlay of the cover. So the acetate is going to show one thing, and then you peel it back and it shows the real truth behind the scene. So it's going to be, it shows something, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's happening, and then you peel it back and it shows what's actually going on. So they're doing that on, if books are double shipping, I think it's only going to be the first issue, or if they just have one, it's going to be that issue. And it's on all their major books. You're not getting it on the mini-series and things like that, but just their main ongoing books are all going to have these acetate covers, which is going to be neat. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they actually work. We've seen kind of mock-ups, but not how they actually look. And the best thing is there's no additional cost. They're the same price as the regular books. And this is also the main cover. It's not a variant. The main cover is going to have this acetate cover. So I think that's pretty cool. And then they have a ton of new stuff coming out. Lots of neat stuff. There's a Black Knight or a Batman White Knight presents Von Freeze one shot, and this is written by Sean Gordon Murphy and drawn by Klaus Janson, who's been around forever since Dark Knight Returns, Daredevil, all sorts of stuff. And this is going to be a story about the history of Mr. Freeze in that White Knight universe and his story and his history with the Waynes and everything. So looking forward to that. That should be really good. Joe Hill's Hill House Comics line, we got the first issue of Basketful of Heads, came out at the end of October. And now we're getting the second book. This is written by Mike Carey and drawn by Peter Gross, and it's called The Dollhouse Family. Interesting premise where 6-year-old Alice gets a gift from her great aunt, and it's an old 19th century dollhouse, including little dolls in it. And she's fascinated by it, and it turns out that she can actually go into the dollhouse, and she can play with her new friends. And as the world outside in her own family kind of gets more complicated, she tends to go in there to hide. So interesting. Nice little horror line. Very intrigued by what they're doing with this. Far Sector is an interesting one as well. This is a young animal book, which is in the Black Label adult line, but this is a new Green Lantern. In a far-off section of the world, it's a big murder mystery. So it's going to be a little more adult, introducing some new characters, but still in the Green Lantern family. Genlock is a new one I'm not super familiar with. It's spinning out the Rooster Teeth animated series. So if you like that, there's a new Genlock book coming. Green Lantern 85 is a facsimile edition they're doing this month, and that's the famous drug cover where Speedy is shooting up on the cover. Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil issue. Green Lantern Black Stars. This is spinning out of what happened in Green Lantern 12, where all of the Green Lanterns have kind of been turned into Black Stars. So there are no more Green Lanterns anywhere in the universe. They've all become Black Stars. We're also doing a new He-Man book, He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. And this is kind of taking on what's going on in Justice League and the rest of the DC universe with the multiverse and the dark multiverse and stuff. And now, throughout all the multiverses, where all the Eternias are and all the He-Men, something evil has been unleashed, and they're going world to world trying to destroy them. So the only way they've found to stop them is they have to recruit Prince Keldor, who, as He-Man fans know, turns into Skeletor. So they have to get him before he turns into Skeletor to help them save the multiverse. John Constantine Hellblazer is back. It's in the Sandman universe, and it's a return to classic Hellblazer. He's not trying to be in the superhero universe anymore. He's kind of returning to his Vertigo roots and just being the magician and the guy he always was. So I'm very excited. I'm a big Hellblazer fan, so I'm looking forward to this one. Batman Who Laughs, in the story of that, he has infected 6 heroes with the same thing that turned his being Batman into the Joker Batman, which is Batman Who Laughs. So that is going to start in November, and we're getting 2 one-shots. There's the infected Shazam and the infected Scarab, who's Blue Beetle. And they're getting one-shots telling their story of what they're doing while being infected. Legion of Superheroes is back. Brian Michael Bendis and Ryan Sook are bringing back Legion of Superheroes, who've been gone for a while. And this is a whole new Legion, a Legion you've never seen before, as they always say. But I'm looking forward to this. I was a big Legion fan growing up, and I'm very much looking forward to them getting a fresh start. The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage. This is a new one from Black Label. Very excited about this one because it's Jeff Lemire, who's a great writer, teaming up with Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz to do the art. So Question is going to be trying to figure out his life and everything that's happened to him, just with 2 really, really good artists working on this as well. Tales from the Dark Multiverse is kind of a what-if series, where they're saying, what happened when this event took place on this twisted Earth and different things. So far we've gotten The Death of Superman and Batman Nightfall, which have been really good. And we're getting 2 more in November. We're getting Blackest Night, and we're also getting Infinite Crisis. So these should be interesting spins on it. If you're a What If fan, if you're an alternate history kind of person, these should be really, really good. And then in the regular books in November, we still have Year of the Villain continuing. And what we've gotten now is to Hostile Takeover, where basically the bad guys have won and have defeated their heroes. And this is going to be the story going through all of the main books that are tying in. Then a couple other things happening in some other books. Action 1017 begins Invisible War, and there's going to be a huge change to the status quo of Superman in his books and going forward. Flash 82 begins Rogue's Reign, where the bad guys have taken over Central City. Hawkman 18 is dealing with Hawkman being another one of the infected. Supergirl 36 is also dealing with her being one of the infected. So we're getting to those. Supergirl's also has an annual that's going to be focusing on that as well. And then Justice League is continuing the main Year of the Villain story, where the Justice League's defeated. So that's a ton of stuff coming from DC. Now let's go to Marvel. At Marvel, they're continuing the Dawn of X. So we've already had the first batch of new X books come out, and now we're continuing on with the next wave. We're getting New Mutants. This is actually written by Jonathan Hickman, along with Ed Brisson and Rod Rice on the art. And this is the classic New Mutants, teaming up with some of the more recent characters, Chamber and Mondo, and they are off going into space looking for a missing teammate. We don't know which one yet, so we'll have to read it and find out. X-Force is also coming. This is Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara, and they're kind of the CIA secret ops investigating aspect of the X-Men team. Fallen Angels, this is by Brian Hill and Simon Kodransky. This is kind of the outliers. This is Psylocke, who no longer feels that she belongs anymore since she's split from Betsy Braddock. She doesn't quite know what her place is with the mutants anymore. And then something happens to a person in her past and she has to go investigate, and she teams up with X-23 and Young Cable, who also don't quite understand where they fit and everything. So these are kind of the outliers. Then we got some new events coming from Marvel. The beginning of Annihilation. They're bringing back Annihilation, and the first one is going to be Scourge. This is Matthew Rosenberg and Juanan Ramirez, and basically something is coming from the negative zone, something the Marvel Universe is not prepared for, and so this is going to be kicking off the new Annihilation storyline they're doing. Absolute Carnage is still continuing. It's wrapping up with number 5 in November, and then we have a couple more one-shots. There's Weapon Plus, which is going to be involving Weapon H and those people. And then there's Captain Marvel, where her cat gets taken over by Carnage. So she's fighting her cat, who's not a Flerken as far as I know. And they also get a new series called Scream, Curse of Carnage. And this is, Scream is going to be a continuing series coming out of Absolute Carnage. 2099, they're revisiting that because they kind of realized it's been 80 years since the beginning of the Marvel Universe, and we're also 80 years from 2099. So why not do a big 2099 event? So in Spider-Man, something's going on with Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, and that's affecting everything. So it's going to be in the regular Amazing Spider-Man books, and then we're also getting some one-shots. We're getting an Alpha, which is going to begin this storyline. And then we're getting a Conan 2099, not sure how that's going to work, a Punisher 2099, and a Fantastic Four 2099. These are all one-shots, and then we'll get more in December. We're getting a new Deadpool book. This is Kelly Thompson and Chris Bocciolo, because we haven't had a Deadpool book for a couple months, so we need a new number 1. We're also getting a Morbius miniseries, talking about the living vampire, and a Yondu miniseries spinning out of Guardians of the Galaxy. Punisher Soviet is an interesting one. This is Garth Ennis returning to the series that he just had a huge run on, and coming back to Punisher and doing a story about Russian agents and Frank taking on those guys. Black Cat is giving an annual, which is going to be the wedding of Black Cat and Spider-Man. What? So we'll have to see where that goes. Also getting Spider-Man Venom Double Trouble, and this is more of a young reader book, but it's a mind swap where Spider-Man and Venom swap minds, and then they have to join up and be buddies to figure out how to solve it. Fantastic Four is getting a one-shot called Negative Zone, where an experiment of Reed's in the past has gone awry in the negative zone, and the Fantastic Four has to go there and put an end to it and set things right. Avengers 27 is starting a new storyline where Starbrand has been reborn out in space, and the Avengers have to go deal with that. And then we're getting some facsimile editions as well from Marvel. We're getting X-Men 266, which is reprinting the first appearance of Gambit, and we're getting Tomb of Dracula number 10, which is the first appearance of Blade. So that's from Marvel. Now we're getting on to some of the other guys. Image has a bunch of new ones this month. We're getting Family Tree. This is a new one from Jeff Lemire and Phil Hester. And basically, when their daughter starts turning into literally a tree, this family has to put everything aside and they have to scour the back roads of the United States to try to solve the mystery before she turns completely into a tree. Sounds odd, but it's Jeff Lemire, so I have faith. Big one is Undiscovered Country. This is by Charles Soule, Scott Snyder, and Giuseppe Camuncoli. And unexpectedly, the United States walled itself off from the rest of the world 30 years ago. No one knows why, and they've just been basically off the radar. It's been its own place. Well, now there is a global pandemic, and some scientists decide to go into the United States to try to get help, and it's their story of how they have to survive in this new bizarre wilderness. Heart Attack. This is a one where gene therapy is great and has cured all sorts of diseases, but it's also led to variants, basically mutants, and now the government is coming down on them, basically saying they're not even human, and the resistance has begun, and they're fighting back. Philadelphia. This is one where a beat cop goes back to Philadelphia to bury his dad, who was murdered. He was a big, high-ranking cop, and he is trying to figure out what happened and gets into the deep, seedy world of politics and fun stuff there. Olympia number 1. This is one where a kid, he's a latchkey kid, comes home and all he does is read. He loves to read, and Olympia is his favorite superhero. And all of a sudden one day, Olympia shows up, battered and bruised, and as he nurses him back to health, he realizes that his hero wasn't the only one that showed up. So I'm sure there's bad guys and fighting and all sorts of stuff there. Dark Horse has some new stuff coming. There's a new ElfQuest series, Stargazer's Hunt. And ElfQuest did their final story of the main characters, and now this is going to be a continuing story from one of the secondary characters. I'm not big familiar with ElfQuest, so I don't know who all they are. Hazel and Cha-Cha Save Christmas. Now, Hazel and Cha-Cha, if you read or saw Umbrella Academy, were kind of the time bounty hunters trying to get a hold of number 5. And this is going to be a little spin-off story. They're starting a series of tales from the Umbrella Academy. So this is going to be the first one. Looks to be fun, because if you watch the show or read the books, they're kind of wacky characters. Black Hammer is doing something neat. Black Hammer's had a bunch of little miniseries, and the main storyline just wrapped up. So what they're doing, it's called 3 for 1, where for $1 you're getting 3 of the first issues of the different series to give it a try. And Black Hammer has been a blowout success, outselling a lot of my books from major publishers. So if you've been interested, if you've been hearing about it, this is a perfect idea and a perfect way to just give it a shot for $1. You're going to get a nice big 3 issues. Witchfinder is back. This is from Mike Mignola. New storyline from that. And Crone number 1, where this old lady who was previously a defender of the realm has to come back in her old age and fight one more time to protect. IDW has some interesting stuff coming. You probably heard about the new Picard show that they're doing. Well, they're doing a comic which is the prequel to that, which is basically his last mission as Captain of the Enterprise and what happened and what made him retire. So they're going to be telling that story. Glow versus the Babyface is based in the Glow, the TV show Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling universe. And the neat thing about this is written by AJ Lee, or AJ Mendez, but who as a wrestler was AJ Lee, really popular, and the wife of CM Punk. So she's writing a comic about wrestling. So that should be good. Rising Sun is a Ron Mars story about Japan and dragons and monsters. So should be fun. Dungeons and Dragons has a new one. People have been enjoying that. Infernal Tides is a new storyline coming out of that world. And there's a new one-shot from The Crow. So if you're a Crow fan, you get a little taste, a little more of him. Dynamite. We just finished Kiss the End, and we thought that was the end of Kiss. But no, there's more Kiss coming. Kiss Zombies. So basically, in the aftermath of a zombie outbreak, some kids in New Detroit have to go out and try to find Kiss because they feel that they're the only ones that can save them. Boom Studios also has some neat stuff coming out. We have The Magicians. This is written by Lila Sturges and Lev Grossman. Lev Grossman wrote the book and has been involved with the TV show. And this is basically the next wave. These are the next magicians and the bad guys after the books. And they're going to be doing they still go to break bills, they still go to the school and dealing with that stuff, but it's all new characters in a new comic series. Folklords is a new one from Matt Kindt. Interesting twist on this, where normally it's people in our world imagining fantasy worlds. Well, what happened if in a fantasy world they imagine our world with suits and technology and all sorts of stuff? And that's what happens to young Ansel, is he's having these visions of this other world where they have, TVs and cars and stuff. So he goes to seek out the mysterious folklords to see if they can give him some insight into his visions and what's going on. BB Free #1. This is about this girl, BB Free. She runs she broadcasts her underground radio show from a secluded swamp, yet she doesn't realize that she's the chosen one. A great tragedy has befallen the land, and she's hiding away doing this, and she learns things throughout this story about what actually happened and what her family did and what her role in the world is. Heartbeat. A young, not popular girl accidentally stumbles on a secret that the most popular boy in the school has, and that is he likes the taste of blood and will kill to get it. And she's both horrified and intrigued, so she allows herself to be sucked into his clique and his world and see where that goes. Not a whole lot from the smaller guys, just a lot of next issues that I don't tend to focus on, but we do have a couple new ones I do want to point out. Ahoy is bringing back Dragonfly and the Dragonfly Man. Now, these were the heroes of the Wrong Earth, and this is basically going to be a story that happened before the Wrong Earth to let you understand a little more about who these characters are before they accidentally swapped worlds. Titan is giving us a 13th Doctor holiday special like they do on TV. We're getting one in the comics. And Valiant is bringing back Rye. So we got a new Rye #1. This is by Dan Abnett and Juan Jose Rip. Vault has a couple new ones as well. There's Black Stars Above, where a young fur trapper flees her overbearing family only to get lost in a dreamlike winter wilderness that harbors a cosmic threat. Vault is big about the space stuff, but they've also done some other neat stuff that I'll talk about in just one sec. And then there's another one called Heist or How to Steal a Planet. And it's basically Ocean's 11 in space. I talked about this long ago, but we finally got the graphic novel just came out, and it's of These Savage Shores. One of the neatest books I've read in a long time. We just got the regular graphic novel, but we're also getting a special foil version of the cover for local comic shop day. If you're ever looking for something different, a book just unlike anything you've ever read, I encourage you to pick this one up. I was fascinated from the first issue, and I really can't talk about it enough. Really neat book, fantastic art, really good story. You're going to be hearing a lot more from Ram V, who is the writer on it. He's kind of starting to dabble a little bit in both Marvel and DC, and I think you're going to hear about him. But this is really his breakout hit. So I recommend These Savage Shores greatly. So that's all I have for the news about what's going on in the world of comics for November 2019. Book Club is going to be the 22nd. We're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 1. We have Local Comic Shop Day on the 23rd and Black Friday on the 29th. All month long, we're going to be promoting Gail Simone's work. So please come by and take a look and see what's going on with her. As always, though, you can reach me at the store with any questions. The website's Pittsburgh Comics. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics, and Twitter and Instagram are at PGH Comics. So thanks for watching, and stick around for Comic Previews Theater. Thanks.
No masks. No masks.
Is there anything further you require, sir?
Yes, ventriloquist. I require my boy. No help. Your cat. Not her city. Not her fight. No help. No help. I am Bane. I get it. And I'm Batman. But I think you're forgetting she's Catwoman.